morning and welcome to another great edition of Money Truth Moments with our very own Money Truth expert and money whisperer, Judy Copenbarger. How are you?
I'm great, Carlos. Good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I got to tell you, we got a lot of great feedback from last week's show. And if you didn't tune in, make sure you watch last week's episode because we started a short series on College Cash Chronicles, right? Say that 3 times in a row really fast. Let's see how you can do. But we're talking basically about all these new high schoolers graduating, going to college. A lot of them don't know what to expect. Parents only know so much, and then they can guide them. So we decided to talk about this. And last week, Judy talked about, the importance of financial planning. And I think that was a lot of great stats that you gave. So make sure you guys watch the show. And if you're not following Judy, do so at judycopenbarger.today for all relevant content. So we left off talking about the essential components of a student budget, right? You gave some great examples, and a lot of the great feedback is folks love when you give these real life examples because they can all relate, right? So I thought today we would start with, we're talking about these kids leaving high school. A lot of them will be prepared, a lot of them won't. I was one of those high schoolers that wasn't really prepared because I didn't know what I didn't know, right? But what would you say are how can students really track their expenses effectively when they're going to college?
Yeah, this is part of that transition, right? Adulting. And so, these kids are not kids anymore. And it's funny, a couple of generations ago, by 18, these kids were parents and they had their own business or they were already, doing their careers and all that. And now it takes a little bit longer and it's fine. I think it's actually maybe good to cook a little bit longer, gain more experience. And it's our role as parents, grandparents to help them do that. And so there's this, how do we help them adult and figure out the money thing? And for parents that didn't raise their kids with their own like spending plan and their own allowance or, help them learn how to spend, this is brand new for these students, college students. They've never had to be responsible for figuring out if I have $100, how do I divide it up? How much is for food and how much is for books and how much is for my activities and putting gas in the tank. They don't have the experience. So I think a little patience goes a long ways. They don't know what we know. They haven't been in our world. And so I think that, empowering them with tools is a great thing to do. And, when it comes to how to handle expenses and working on a spending plan for the first time, it could be as simple as a spreadsheet. It's just, I've got 5 categories. Here's how much every time I get money, how much goes to each category, right? Allocating the money that's going to be going out instead of, oops, I blew the whole wad on the first thing. I went to pizza, but, and bought pizza for all my friends. Oh, my $100 is gone. Now what? Right. And so it's just a matter of learning that, making some mistakes, and hopefully there'll be small ones and we can recover. Another thing that you can do is the envelope method. Over the last decades, there's been this envelope method, and that's so simple. It's the same thing, but without the paperwork. So you basically have envelopes, jars, cans, whatever. Let's say you have $100 and you have 5 categories of expenses that you're going to have regularly. And maybe the 5th one is called miscellaneous. Those things that just come up and you're, all of a sudden I need a gift for a friend for a birthday or something. But you have maybe 4 categories that are ordinary, money for food, money for books or school related expenses, money for transportation, that's gas, insurance, whatever the categories are. And every time you get money, you convert it to cash. And I know if you're if you're a young person under 40, you're like, cash, why would I do that? It's dirty, that green stuff, right? But you can do it. And so you convert it to cash and you put so much cash in each envelope based on how much you're going to need. And so it's just kind of a forced savings, an organized savings way to go. So that can work. It's primitive, probably the most primitive of all the things you can do. At the other end of the spectrum are the apps. And there are some wonderful apps, and I'll detail those in a few minutes if we have time. But, everybody loves apps. If you're 18, 19, 20, under 30, this is how you grew up, with apps on your phone to make everything easier and more time efficient. And there are apps to help you with your spending plan. Allocate money. You say, this is how much money went in. Here's where it's going to go. And it actually does it. It says, okay, it's the 28th of the month. You've got $4 left in this category. or you've got $50 left. Good job. Now you can save more. So it does all that for you. And of course, this GIGO, right? So if you put inaccurate information in, you're going to not get really helpful information out. So you've got to do it, whatever plan you use, if it's primitive or if it's really high tech, you just want to be committed to it and regularly use it. So the data coming out is very helpful for you. All kinds of ways to do it, but I recommend something for people that are learning how to spend. Do something, find what works for you and do that.
What would you say your experience has been in some of these apps, especially for I'm not even going to say the college students, because a lot of the high schoolers some of them are already starting to work, and have been doing it
Great.
part-time. What would you
Yeah.
say is one app that you've actually seen in action that really breaks it down and makes it really simple for folks? So I think that's the other issue, right? Some of these apps, financial apps, sometimes are complicated. People get frustrated and just say, forget it. I don't want to do this. But there's nothing like writing it down, pen and paper, like you always talk about. But what's one that stands out for you?
There are many, and there are probably several that rise to the top, maybe a dozen or so. But here's the other thing to consider. Most apps that have to do with spending plans or budgets, they'll use the B word, budget, right? It's what you can't have. Most of them are funnels that go into something else that they're trying to sell you. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something you want to be aware of. So many of the apps that you see are from financial institutions. They're from banks. They're from people that are selling financial products, services, things like that. So it's a funnel to get you in there thinking about money. And now they're going to just blast you with all this stuff they want to sell you. Might be good for you, might not be good for you, but just be aware you are becoming a target for most of these apps when you engage. However, there's one that I like right now. They change all the time. Like every Tuesday, there's a new one coming out, it seems.
Right.
But the one that I like, it almost has a bad word in it. It's YNAB, YNAB. And it stands for You Need a Budget. And this is a group of people that have been around 20 years or so. I don't know them, but I love their philosophy. And their philosophy is we're not here to sell you a bunch of stuff. We're not here to sell all your information, although that might happen a little bit. You can tell them not to. But it's all about people that want you to just really get a handle on your spending plan. I think their heart is right. And it's a group, it's just a few hundred people employed. It's one of the smaller groups. But You Need a Budget is what YNAB stands for. They've got a book. They don't have a whole lot of products. They don't have a bunch of financial service folks there ready to pounce on you. But it's just a nice app that I think is very helpful. It's very simple. It's a good one to start with. There are several others, but I think that might be a good place to start. YNAB.
Very cool. And then we'll put the link on the comments as well, so you guys can check it out directly. But that's awesome, because I think we're always looking for new things, and like you said, almost every Tuesday there's a new app that's trying to outdo the other one as well too. Yeah. So that's great. I appreciate you sharing that. So let me ask you this. So we're talking about the budgeting. There's also that shock factor, right? When kids go to college and all of this, everybody trying to sell them a credit card, this, that, or whatever. In your experience, talk to us a little bit about maybe an example of that shock factor for one of your younger clients.
Oh, yeah. Of course, you get to school and, you're a target, you're a student, and you've got, parents probably that could send you there. So you're already a target, particularly for the financial folks. And if they can get you by 20 or early 20s, you're going to be a lifelong client worth a lot of money to these companies. So they're out there on the quad. When you go and you sign up for all your activities and all of your clubs and, things that you're going to be doing, they're going to be right there alongside offering a free beach towel or a free candy bar or t-shirt or something if you sign up for this free credit card. Free money, right? It's like, yay, let's go get pizza, guys. And they are there targeting you. They're going to get on your email list. I'm sure the schools give them access to students. It's valuable enterprise. But they're going to be out there physically also. Just, hey, come to us. Here's the thing: free interest. You're gonna get to buy whatever you want, and no interest for a while or whatever. We're going to offer you more that you can put on your charge card. So you want to be aware of that you are a target. I think it's great to have credit, and we've got many podcasts and many shows built around this. It's great to have some credit because you're going to need it when you go to get your apartment or you go to lease or buy a car. When you get out in the world, they're going to say, okay, are you going to be able to pay this back? Even when you get a job, they're going to check your credit, right? To see if you have some responsibility in that area. So it's a good time to start building it. So get a credit card, put a small balance on it, pay it off over time. And that's one thing. A lot of folks will, charge $100 and then they'll just pay it off and go, look, I was good. I paid it off right away. Well, there's no credit history. There's no history of you paying down debt over time. So it's kind of not intuitive, right? It's like, but I was being good. No, you don't want to be that good. They would call you a deadbeat if you pay it off and they don't ever make interest off you. So if you charge $100, maybe pay you $25 each month over 4 months. Now it shows that for 4 months, you were very good paying on time and you build that record of paying on time. So there are little things like that that you can do. And again, we've got so much information out there and shows that you can look at about building credit, repairing credit. That's a great way to go.
And that's something that we don't know, even as adults, right? Exactly what you're saying. A lot of us just use one credit card, paid off at the end of the month, and we're done. But it makes a lot of sense because we don't know what we don't know. And I'm glad that you're sharing all of this, especially with our youth, because if we set them up right, they're just going to be very successful and not make the same mistakes, hopefully, that a lot of us did growing up as well. So let's jump a little bit now into, I know you've talked about statistics before on this, but talk a little bit about the scholarship and grants opportunities for students.
There are so many, and yeah, lots of numbers, lots of statistics about how many grants go unclaimed. People don't even apply. And I think for the most part, they don't know. Like if you had a list of all the free money that was out there and you could go check, 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 go get it, you would. And so this is where you can use the high school counseling centers, the resource centers at the colleges. They've got people employed just to make sure this information is available to people looking for it. And this is the free money, right? The grants, the scholarships. And scholarships are not always merit based because you have, a 4.7 GPA, if that's still possible. I think it might be with AP classes. A lot of times it's cultural. It might be the heritage that you have. It might be the clubs that your parents were involved with, the communities that you have grown up in. It might be clubs. It might be activities that you've been involved in, sports or scouts or, philanthropic things, church things. There's all kinds of scholarships and grants out there. So make the resource people your friends. Let them know the background that you have, the communities that might be available for you for these, and apply. It's worth writing those essays. They're irritating, I know, but if you get 2 or 3 good ones and you craft them for this, maybe you apply for 20. Here's the thing. If you got a $5,000 grant because you wrote an essay and it was a 500-word essay, that's a lot of dollars per word. This is what I did with kids. I said, I know it's irritating, but if you get just 1 out of 10, you might be making 50 or $100 per word on some of these. Do it. It's just time. And I know it's an irritation, but it's good practice too, right? It's good.
Absolutely.
But yeah, do that. Take advantage. The scholarships, the grants. There are also loans if you don't quite get enough. And even ask the school. There are directors grants, there are president's grants, scholarships from the school. And sometimes you just need to ask and say, hey, are there any left? If it's untapped, you're on the list, right? So you just got to ask and put yourself out there. But if you run out of those resources and you still need to go and you still need to fill the gap, there are loans available. There are subsidized loans, unsubsidized loans, all the government loans, where they just kind of support the idea of college or higher education for folks. There are also personal loans. I usually don't recommend that people take a HELOC, like a line of credit against their house to educate themselves or their children, although that's an option, because now you're securing a loan and, you're putting your house at risk. So, but that is possible. But there are usually enough private loans out there. It's just a matter of shopping the rates, the interest rates, which should be coming down in the next year or two, we'll see, to make it affordable. Lots of resources.
And so one of the other things that we're talking about this is, since we're talking about resources, you've talked about the loans, you've talked about how to save, the apps, and all of that. What would you say? My foot in the door at college. What's the first thing I should be focusing on? And I know that this is actually going to be another segment that we're going to talk about, but tell us a little bit about why eyes wide open. I'm walking in. What am I looking for, right? To help my financial future.
Oh, financially speaking, I was thinking, first of all, make friends and get your plan together. What's going to be my plan to attack college? But yeah, financially, I would make a list of all the resources available, top to bottom, the low hanging fruit. If I write these essays, I'm getting more bang for my buck. These, maybe not so much. Just really get a good idea on the spending. If you're going to school and your parents are helping you, your grandparents are helping you, ask them about helping you with a spending plan. What are you going to need if it's 50 bucks a month, if it's 500 bucks a month, where's it going to come from? In an episode or two ago, we talked a lot about how to get money, how to earn money while you're a student. It's amazing how much is available. And people don't know, use the school. So go back and watch a couple of those other shows. Probably the last two or three that we have put out. I talked a lot about where the money comes from, how to earn it. It's like there's a lot. So, and some very creative ways you never would have thought are available, how to earn money while you're in school. So, I think the trick is, if we're going to summarize, earn something, whatever you need to be socially engaged, to meet friends, do all those things that are so important besides studying. And if you're an athlete, training, do all those things well, right? You want to be well balanced. And it's really about who you meet more than what you learn. For most people, if you ask them in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, a lot of it is about the culture, the people they met along the way on the journey, rather than just what they learned in, civics class or in geometry, right? Well, I guess if you're an engineer, geometry is kind of important, but we're
Just a
not.
tad, right?
Yeah,
Just
you
a
might
tad.
do that. Yeah, but for a lot of us, it's really about the journey. It's about learning about yourself, learning about life. You meet people from all cultures, from all backgrounds, and you're like, yeah, not so much. That one I do align with. And that's part of it. It really helps define who you are. And you get to do that. And so to do that with some cash in your pocket is great, because you'll have more opportunities for engagement with other people socially. So I think that's a big deal. So I would say, first of all, earn the money, either work a budget out with whoever's supporting you while you're in school, or get your own money. That was our approach. We just were independent and got our own money, worked along the way. So however that happens, get the money in. The second part is manage it well. And that's really good time to practice while your budget's not huge. Because once you get a house, you get a car, you start having triplets, kids, the budgets get big. So just practice, just managing really well what you have, and then put some away for the future. It's a good time to practice saving for beyond what you need every month, something in the future. A goal for a car, a goal for your own place, a goal for, when you get married and have kids, maybe even retirement. Why not? Put some money in a Roth if you're making enough. So those are the three things that you can do while you are adulting and launching. For the first time, you've got your own money. Those are things you can do, and I highly recommend you do it.
All right, folks, we're at the tail end of our show, and you know what that usually means, right? I'm going to say it's our Money Truth College Challenge. How's that for today, right? For
Oh, it
sure.
is a college challenge. And let me
Yeah.
look back here what you said at the beginning. This whole thing is called, what are you calling it? It's that
Oh,
College
the
Cash
college.
Chronicles.
That's it.
College Cash
Challenge.
Chronicles
There you go.
Challenge. That's a lot
There
of
you
C's.
go.
I like
Yeah.
C's. My name starts with C, right? So I'm not opposed. So here's your challenge. If you are already past this phase of, undergrad, grad school, kind of launching your career and your education, if you're past that, find somebody in your life that you can help and give this information to. Maybe a child, a grandchild, a neighbor's kid, someone that you're mentoring. And if you're not mentoring a young adult, do it, right? Kids really need people to pour into them and share experience with them. And you can help them avoid mistakes that we've all made, right? So that's the first thing. Identify either it's you or it's somebody that you can help. And then the challenge that I'd like for you is, how is the spending plan going to happen? But let's make it two parts, because I just thought of something else that might be helpful. But let's get the spending plan. Is it going to be an app? Are you kind of a techie? An app would be better for you. Is it going to be something simple, or envelope method, a jar? I've got a jar in the back here. We've got chickens, and people buy our eggs with cash a lot. And so it's the farm funding jar, right? So then we take the cash and we go cash. I know, right? And we take it and we go buy chicken feed with the money that the chickens earned for us with their egg sales, right? But okay, back to you guys. So the challenge is to either be you or identify a person you can help. What method is going to work? Is it going to be an app? Is it going to be an envelope method? Is it going to be some kind of a jar or box method? Or is it going to be a simple spreadsheet? Just kind of a note maybe on the refrigerator, or a chart on the refrigerator, like we had as kids. Here's what I'm saving money for. Here's what it's going to do. And here's how it's going to get me through each month and help plan for my goals for the future. It's not always easy, but it's very simple, and you can do this. That's your challenge.
All right, folks, you've heard the challenge. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. And if you're not following Judy, do so at judykopenbarger.today. All of our social media links are on there as well. And make sure that you watch the other episodes, because we covered a lot of ground, specifically between finances, college life, and then we're ending today talking about the College Cash Chronicles. And you have the College Cash Chronicles Challenge. Got through that one.
Nice job.
Yeah. So remember, we're here every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. with our replays at Thursdays at 8 p.m. Any last parting words, Judy?
Make it a great week and enjoy every day. It's so good.
All right. Until next week, take care, Judy. Good seeing you.
You too. Bye-bye.